Pirate Software has a history of over-exaggerating or lying about harassment. I don't believe that. Imagine spending 2 whole hours with a mental case that refuses to admit that he got something wrong. He will continuously waste your time for 2 whole hours instead of just owning up and going, you know what? I might have misread it and I may have misspoke. That's all you had to do. Bro, can you just admit that you may have indirectly got this information wrong, even just indirectly? And he's like, no, I was right the entire time, Charlie. Why would you be afraid to talk to Ross? Ross did nothing to you. Ross didn't call you a Nepo baby. Ross didn't say that your time at Blizzard's fake. Ross didn't call you or call you any slurs. Ross just pointed out that you were wrong. If you have this much of a fundamental disagreement with Ross, why are you afraid to talk to him? He seems like an approachable guy.
You're suing a man and you end it with a fucking dog hitting a fucking drum! I'm fucking mad.
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
We're going to the Pirate Software stuff. I've been wanting to cover this for a while, okay? When I took my couple of days off, I was really excited for the Pirate Software stuff. The problem that we're facing here is that a lot of this stuff is Twitter. I am unable to pull any of this up, so we'll probably be watching most of Harmful's content. But I want to pull this up. Big update on Stop Killing Games.
Hey!
So, this video was updated 4 days ago. This is Accursed Games, the individual, or Ross, who originally created the idea for Stop Killing Games. This is after everyone dogpiled Pirate Software. This is after everybody promoted this. PewDiePie promoted it, Jacksepticeye promoted it, Mudahar, Actman. Hundreds and thousands of creators were all behind this. Big creators on top of that. And they all pushed. And they finally pushed, and they got 1 million signatures. Right now, the initiative has surpassed 1 million signatures. I believe we're at 1,300,000 is where the initiative's at currently, which is a really good thing. It's a really good thing. So I want to hear what Ross has to say in regard to the updates, and we're going to go over that.
I have some announcements.
But we have more Pirate Software stuff, don't you worry.
On Stop Killing Games. And I'm going to be looking away a lot because my mind tends to go blank when I look into the camera, and I don't want to memorize this. Okay, the breaking news. The European Citizens Initiative has crossed 1 million signatures. Except it hasn't.
Apparently not all of them are valid according to Ross. That's fair. That's fine. That's why there's this buffer.
This is going to kill morale, but there are 2 things going on here. The first we knew was coming. Every time somebody makes a mistake when they sign the initiative, their signature gets invalidated. So that means we need more signatures to make up for everybody's mistakes. It kind of reminds me of multiplayer games when you see somebody who just has no idea what they're doing, like they're attacking a wall or something. So in this case, we need to pick up the slack for the people who literally...
Well, they just did another 300,000 that I'm aware of.
...literally can't write their own name properly. That could be a lot. I've heard 10% minimum, 20% is better, 40% should be really safe. Or it would be, but we have a second problem. I've received several reports of people claiming to spoof signatures on the initiative site. First off, I want to say that this is not a change.org petition. This is a government process. Spoofing signatures on it is a crime.
Which, to be fair, if you were spoofing signatures on this thing, if you were doing false signatures on this thing, you're a dick. You're a dick. You're a huge dick. What's his deadline? I believe the end of this month.
Please do not do this. They'll be checked later by the EU Commission, and my guess is the fake ones will get turned over to Europol or Interpol, and they'll follow up on this.
Yep, they will hunt those people down.
If it's coming from America, Interpol is known to cooperate a lot with the FBI. Now, will they prosecute people on this? I have no idea. Europe takes its political processes pretty seriously, so I would think the more it's being spoofed, the more they might send law enforcement after people doing this. Again, I would not suggest doing this. It seems like a bad thing to risk going to prison over. But the problem here is I am now in a complete fog as to how much this affects the initiative. Now don't worry, none of this will invalidate the initiative. All legitimate signatures will still count. But that 1 million number? Yeah, it might not be real. I think we have at least 600, 700,000 real signatures. Beyond that, I don't know. Maybe it's just 1 or 2 people who tried it and this is nothing to worry about. Or maybe it's a sophisticated botnet spoofing hundreds of thousands of signatures. I have no clue. In fact, I noticed a few days ago, we were getting a good rise in the day European time, but then it would fall off a lot at night because people were going to bed. Now it seems like it's rising a lot through the night. So maybe most of this is an illusion now. We may not have won anything. I have to give credit where it's due. I was looking forward to reaching a safe margin and putting this behind me. But now I guess I have to keep this up until July 31st because now there's no such thing as a safe margin. I have no idea what...
Well, that's why I'm glad that Ross put in the additional aspect to it. So it's good that they are pushing it forward even more. To be honest, Ross, you should have thought about doing that initially. Like, you're trusting the internet to make signatures. It's good that now you added on the extensions and said, hey, like, we need a lot more signatures just in case to make up for, you know, the assholes that are doing fake signatures. Like, to be fair, you should have done that initially, but I'm glad you did it now, I guess, okay?
It's real now. So, for people who hate the initiative, you got me. This makes my life harder, and now I'm on the hook even longer. I will be so happy for this campaign to end. Actually, if you're really good at data analysis, I'd say try to look at those first couple days around June 24th and 25th, especially when Moist Critical dropped his video. I remember seeing about a 5% increase in signatures proportional to his views. So it might be safe to assume big YouTube views translate to 5% real signatures. Maybe
Hell, I'm even shocked that 5% even translated over. 5% translation on what? What was his view count again? 3.3 mil? I'm still shocked that even 5% did that.
proportional to his views. So it might be safe to assume big YouTube views translate to 5% real signatures.
It's 3.8 million, right, because it's been up longer than that.
Maybe
That's
you can
from
figure out what a
Logan's
real margin
screenshot.
needs to be. So yeah, that sucks. We'll just keep plodding away unless we can figure out what the safe numbers are. Sorry this isn't a big victory celebration. This is just kind of suspenseful and tense instead, and will probably hurt morale of people signing. You know how in World War II, the Japanese had soldiers entrenched in a bunch of Pacific islands? Except some of them never got the memo when the war ended in 1945, so they just stayed there for years, assuming the war was still on? That's kind of where I am right now mentally.
Okay, dude.
At least it all ends in a month. Okay, another announcement. We've gotten reports that some countries, I think Italy and Belgium especially, where sometimes the digital ID system didn't work. In those cases, I'd say either use the manual method, which we have instructions for on StopKillingGames.com, or you could try coming back in a few days and see if it's working. Another news item, I've been told someone has launched a cryptocurrency based on Stop Killing Games. Dumbest timeline, guys. Just so everyone's clear, that had nothing to do with us.
I can't. You know what? I shouldn't be shocked that somebody tried to capitalize on the money of Stop Killing Games. I shouldn't be shocked by that.
I have no clue who would even want that. I'm sure it's a scam. So, yeah, that's all there is to it. Something else to cover quick is I've heard a couple reports of people harassing PirateSoftware. I feel like this goes without saying, but if it doesn't, no. Of course we do not endorse harassing him.
Here we go. Now listen, I'm just gonna keep a buck with all of you. I don't believe when PirateSoftware says people are harassing him. I'm gonna be honest, okay? Like, even the review bombing stuff, which you're gonna watch with me later, it's all a farce. It's all a lie. Nobody was review bombing his game. Nobody was review bombing his other game that he has with Ludwig. No one did that. Nobody. And PirateSoftware has a history of over-exaggerating or lying about harassment. I don't believe that. If there are people actually harassing PirateSoftware, his family, trying to SWAT, dox him, trying to shut down his LLCs and businesses, you're a dick. You're a piece of shit, and I hope the cops find you, okay? But, like, stop. Stop it if you're actually doing that. But I don't believe PirateSoftware. I don't believe it.
I mean, I said in my response video, I wished him no ill will, and I meant that. You know why? When people's lives are better, they tend to be less inclined to foment some sort of revenge. And I'm taking on enough heat already without adding to the pile. I mean, I'm getting some crazies heading my way, too. Though I can believe it's not as many. I also pointed out last time, whatever damage Thor did to the campaign has been neutralized.
Should have condoned it, but I feel like all of that, if PS is actually getting harassment, I don't believe PirateSoftware is getting like actual significant real life harassment. Maybe I just haven't seen it, but in my eyes, I feel like PirateSoftware is a what's the word I'm looking for?
Corporate chills seriously in general, alongside liars the love
True.
lying.
So because I haven't seen any sort of actual real life harassment in regard to PirateSoftware. How do I word this properly? Because again, PirateSoftware is like the boy who cried wolf about harassment. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. He constantly, even during the WoW stuff, said he was being harassed when it was just people calling him a dick. Like, I can't really take him at his word of real life harassment when his bar for harassment is saying, "What do you think of Stop Killing Games? You're a shitty healer." Like, I don't know how that's harassment, but okay.
So whatever happens is not on him anymore. I'll also say, I don't know what the hell everyone is up to either. This is a lot bigger than me. I can barely keep up with the campaign, let alone him or all the supporters. We do have moderators in our Discord trying their best. I've literally seen them ban someone suggesting bad action against others. Beyond that, I know very little and have even less control over what the rest of the internet is up to. I'm focused on the signatures. If Thor and I never bother each other again, that is just fine by me.
Which is fair. At this point, we've already reached an impasse with you and Thor. Thor is not going in that direction anymore. Like, you and Thor, your guys' beef is over. Thor's beef is now with everybody else in the fucking universe.
I also don't hold him responsible for anything his fanbase does. I'm not a fan of collective punishment. And on the flip side, Stop Killing Games is a populist movement. That's the very definition of messy. I can control that like I can control the weather. Oh, and speaking of barely keeping up, I've been having to play triage on emails and messages and prioritize the ones most critical for the campaign. So a lot of you are going to get a delayed response, but I should mostly catch up. Eventually.
Smile, I am not surprised that Thor is a Kiwi Farms page. Like, do you not see Null tweeting about him constantly? Null does not like that guy, like, at all. Like, he hates him, like, brutally. like, this is the least surprising thing I've heard.
Okay, the final announcement. The UK government petition has cleared 100,000 signatures, and I suspect these signatures are more legit. Though you can keep on signing it too as a safety margin. More will not hurt anything. So what should we expect from this? I honestly have no idea. I would bet money on the EU initiative delivering something good if it passes, but the UK has been more about exhausting all options. I will say whatever happens cannot be worse than the old answer from the Department of Media, Culture, and Sport. Yeah, we get to leapfrog over this garbage. This really is recycled garbage.
I'm curious what they mean by that. There are no plans to amend UK consumer law in disabling video games. Those selling games must comply with existing requirements of consumer law, and we will continue to monitor this issue. It's just fucking horseshit. The government recognizes concerns raised by video game users regarding the operability and purchase products. As the lead department for video games, Department of Culture, Media, and Sports regularly engages industry representatives and monitors how consumers interact with games. We work with the Department of Business and Trade. Yeah, see this right here? This is lobbying. This is lobbyists talking. This is lobbyists talking. These are people that are paying this government money to not do these things.
Media, Culture, and Sport. Yeah, we get to...
We're aware of the issues related to the lifespan of digital content, including games, and we appreciate concerns of players of some games that have been discontinued. We have no plans to amend existing consumer law and digital obsolescence. So basically just a repeat of the other aspect of it.
Leapfrog over this garbage. This really is recycled garbage. Remember, we tried to launch this last year, and they gave us an answer that was so bad, it was rejected
That was in February. Still.
by the Petitions Committee, and they told government to try again because this didn't answer the question. But then Parliament was dissolved. And when it came back and we relaunched again, we got the same answer copied and pasted into the new one, just rearranged a little bit. Part of me suspects all action in the UK has been held up by one grumpy bureaucrat in the department. Well, now we can ignore that crap and head straight to Parliament. I mean, they cannot do worse than this. A member of Parliament could sneeze on the petition and that would not be a worse answer. And that's the one guaranteed thing we'll get out of this, which is answers. Now, for those of you wanting to juice this further, it's been brought to my attention there's a page for finding out who your member of Parliament is if you want to reach out and tell them, yes, bring this up in Parliament. I'd say, yeah, that could help. But
that could help, but you better not be dicks about it.
Absolutely is more work than signing your name, so I'm keeping my expectations in check. There's a link in the description of this video.
Okay, so the update so far is that the Stop Killing Games initiative may have fraudulent signatures, but there's a buffer now created so that there are more signatures coming in, and it's allowing it to process further just to verify those loss of fake signatures. Fair, Ross. You know what? Good on the update, right? So let's see here. Let's go to...
I had a plan. I thought
Let's go to harmful before we jump to internet victim. You know what? Yeah, let's jump there, and then we're going to jump to this video.
I had a plan.
So, PirateSoftware has been not handling this well. I wish I could pull up the clip of him crashing out that Chud tweeted out, where he essentially says the words, I hope your initiative succeeds and you get nothing out of it. He was like crashing the fuck out. He's upset that people are calling him a Nepo baby and a Corpo shill and all this other shit. He's basically just been bitching like a 2-year-old the entire time. It's really funny. It's incredible. Some would say he is spiraling. He's not doing well.
I thought it would be fun after dumping on the guy so much, after seeing him get dumped on so much, to make a video being nice to PirateSoftware, or Thor, as he prefers to be called above all else it seems. Step 1. I'll call him Thor for this video.
Please, I hate when people call him Thor. Like, bro, stop it. Stop. That I hate the fact that he tried to name himself after a badass fucking Norse god.
Instead of PirateSoftware. Doing much more than that is very, very hard though, because the guy continues to chirp. I'll do my best, but being nice to him has to come later in the video, because there are some things to address first. Now, this is very cringe, and the odds of him ever hearing this are very low, but I'll make this video as if I'm talking to you. Show that I understand you're a human being. Make it human to human, not human to mob.
Why the hell, when Harmful does these, like, talking to the creator videos, it's just so ominous. Like, it's so creepy.
Upper echelon suggested. I understand.
Oh my god, the upper echelon video. Oh my Christ. How long is the upper echelon video? How long is it? He's gotten so gay lately. Upper echelon has gotten so gay lately. It's 21 minutes. Depending on where we're going, we might watch that.
Thor, that you have problems with the initiative as it stands alone, in a bubble. With that portion of the things you've said...
Jason, I tried. I tried to get Keem to get PirateSoftware on. They said it was boring. He said Pirate Software is boring. He's a boring guy. It won't be entertaining. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
I have disagreements and a very...
You have Boogie, the biggest fucking dipshit nerd on planet Earth, versus Pirate Software, the preservation of games.
very different perspective. But none of that little portion in a vacuum is why I've said mean things about you, why I've called you a liar. The problem is, as I explain in my video called I Hate Pirate Software, you did more than that. You didn't just explain why you thought the initiative was bad. You pretended, when we have every reason to believe you know otherwise, that it doesn't align with Stop Killing Games' actual goal. You have told over 1 million viewers at this point that the initiative doesn't line up with what they're supposedly trying to do. Let me make this distinction crystal clear.
Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. This isn't always possible in all video games.
Now, this is shallow analysis that doesn't take into consideration the function of the word reasonably, but it's just a take to be agreed or disagreed with and argued about. The concrete problem is demonstrated in what you say immediately afterwards.
And it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat.
That's
literally, fucking Christ, man. It's just so obvious. You read it. It was right there in front of you in bold text. You can't fuck that up unless you are borderline retarded. And somehow he finds a way to get pissy about it and create a whole different narrative.
True. And I know you know that's not true. I've seen you talking about this before you made that video. I know what video you watched before making this video because you quote it in this video. And there is zero chance that you don't know that isn't true. You tried to convince people that SKG made a mistake. They actually want something much narrower than what's laid out in the initiative. Not because you think they actually do, but because you want people to repeat that and push them to change on that basis.
On top of that, he believes that this is a necessary argument to have, even though that is not the goal of the initiative. So, like, his whole idea was they are going to force developers to, like, keep servers operating no matter what. And it's like, no. That's not what they're doing. That's not what they're asking for. They're just asking for an end-of-life cycle to said games. And if they can, keep, like, if a game has single player in it, but online functionality, that they're still able to have access to said single player game. If it is a online only game, that there is an end-of-life cycle where there can be private matchmaking servers that can still be accessed locally. Like, it's not a difficult thing to ask.
Presented as constructive critique. You helping them get in line with their goals. Something that was actually you fundamentally disagreeing.
Because games did that forever ago. I don't know why this is such a problem now.
With Stop Killing Games. And this confused a lot of people. You also convinced a lot of people that they're wrong because they made this mistake that they didn't actually make. They've asked for exactly what they want. As far as I'm aware, you have never even come close to addressing this. This mischaracterization has now been pointed out by the figurehead himself, Ross Scott. He showed you in a video claiming that their real aim was something it was never claimed to be.
Is the online portion, and online-only games are hard to end of life. Well, then when they're doing it initially, right? When you are crafting the idea of a video game, when you are going to even have the pre-production cycle, like you're having the conversation should be, hey, we need to be really specific with our wording here that you're just doing a license. Then there's the other aspect to it, right? Where during these meetings, they should do one of two things before they even start crafting the game. If they're going to make the game completely online only, they should list it immediately as a license and that this game has a specific end date. That the end date is this date 3 or 4 years down the line. Give yourself a little bit of time, right? Then you have the other aspect where if you're going to make a game with a single player aspect but online aspect as well, that those people should have an end of life cycle to be able to still access said game no matter what. That's it.
What is he doing?
It needs to be specific.
No, I get that, Art, but that's something that people aren't understanding. It's like you need to be able to have these conversations pre-development cycle so that you already have this in your mind when this is going out. It should be the bare fucking minimum, but these companies don't want to do that.
Business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this.
Like for the 19 months, hate how we need to be online to play single player. Yes, that's literal garbage forcing people to do that. I think it's the most bullshit thing imaginable.
Under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
It could not be any clearer at this point. And yet, today, you're still running with this story. With respect, I hope the initiative gets everything it asked for, but none of what it wanted.
This dude is such a salty little bastard that people pointed out that he was fucking lying. Then on top of that, thanks to Falgi of the Op Block, we got that clip of him agreeing with the initiative initially with another guy saying one of us when the guy was talking about what the initiative wants to do. And he agreed with that person 2 months before he made the video. This is why this guy is a lying sack of shit. Oh, you linked it? Sorry, Shinji, you linked it. My bad. I thought Falgi did.
You have committed.
Thank you, Shinji, per usual. #1 farmer, #1 mod in chat.
To continuing to spread this narrative you know is false. That is a lot more than just disagreeing with the initiative and stop.
He really is just a spiteful little bitch.
Killing games.
This is what happens when Nepo babies get some kind of fucking audience, man.
You are perpetuating the very lie that Ross Scott, gentlest, most conflict-averse man on the internet, felt he had to make a call-out video to counter. It is not true that the initiative is one thing and they're trying to do something else. But it's beneficial to your side that people think that. Who's gonna side with the bumbling idiots, dangerously pushing for something they don't actually want? Now, one might say, over 1 million people, actually, but they didn't until this misrepresentation was addressed. Did they? Which brings us to a narrative you don't like. The most interesting narrative is that my videos somehow killed the initiative.
Oh, God. This dude talks like Dark Viper. I swear to God, he talks like Dark Viper. Here's a graph showing how Glink, or whatever the hell his name is, Glisset, whatever the fuck his name is, got totally incorrect information about how I view React content. Here are direct graphs showing X, Y, and Z. Like, oh my God, please talk like a person. All right, hold on.
The most interesting
part of the video somehow killed the initiative. You are a contributing factor to said initiative getting less of a stellar review and causing a muddying of the water. That is the problem. You are a part of that. You are a part of that. He's Moldavious Fig Tree. True, I forget. We're talking about Moldavious Fig Tree. Furry freak extraordinaire. I'm sorry. You are correct, Chaos. You are correct. Initiative. This graph shows the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my video dropped. My videos do not seem to have any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did, though. Best luck with your next steps. He's such a whiny.
Interesting narrative is that my videos somehow killed the initiative. This graph shows that the initiative already had a downward trend in interest when my videos dropped. My videos do not seem to have had any impact on the movement at all. Making me the villain did, though. Best of luck with your next steps. I am sure, Thor, that you have heard the phrase lies, damn lies, and statistics. Sometimes numbers lie or don't show the whole story, like how some people thought Rivals of Aether 2 had been mass review bombed because its recent average was low. Let's look at that graph again. Yeah, it's true, it was tapering off in interest, and then it spikes up when you were made the villain. But Thor, I must ask, why were you made the villain? See, there's another way of reading this graph. Initiative drops. Within a week, the guy who's positioned himself as the expert game dev authority says it's dangerous, disagrees with it, and not only that, misrepresents it. And then no big slugger touches it until you're...
That is a good fucking point. That is a good point. The graph does show that. Harmful is making a fucking compelling argument here because it did go down, right? The trend was going down because the problem is that you're basically trying to organize people on the internet to go to a website to sign a document to fight the government, which nobody on the internet likes to do. That is a difficult ask to do, okay? Very, very, very difficult. And it's not consistent. So obviously a downward trend would happen if there weren't constant updates within it, right? Now, the thing is that PirateSoftware, as you can see right here, hit it on the downward trend and it kept going down. It kept going down, and he misrepresented it. People took him at his word. These larger creators that didn't know what was going on probably just took PirateSoftware at his word because, like Harmful said, he has positioned him as a very credible old video game dev and somebody that understands the development cycle, that understands development culture, that understands development time, effort, and everything that goes into it. That immobilized people from believing it's gonna go anywhere. You didn't necessarily kill it, but you kind of smothered it.
Video is directly addressed, and boom, floodgates open. Now I think Ross messed up. He should have hit you directly and much harder than he did sooner, instead of releasing an indirect, tepid FAQ that reached a fraction of the viewers your
He's never been a developer. Well, people took him at his word, Ahsoka. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Presentations did. And I don't have a time machine, but I think if he'd done this earlier, we would have seen a spike earlier. Now, doing it when he did, the hate against you has certainly helped. You being the internet's villain has been a boon, but it's not his fault. You've acted villainously. And another thing about the graph, Charlie weighing in is marked on there. His support was significant. The video itself got a lot of views, and people will talk about what he talks about. And he did specifically cover what I talked about earlier.
Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game.
Just heard from Kino Casino, items at the seller's house. Yes, he's apparently living in Canada.
Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not...
And I heard he's being bullied by all the Canadians, which is fucking hilarious.
Like, what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, PirateSoftware is stun-locked on that, like, fixated, as if that is the actual, like, meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting.
He was much nicer about this than I was. And Thor, I would suggest if Charlie completely, fully understands something and you don't, maybe you should take some time to look at yourself. Because if you don't, this might happen. A follow-up that I must mention garnered more views than the original video. Why did
Obviously, it got more views. It's PirateSoftware fucking writing an entire dissertation on Twitter.
this video happen, Thor? Could it have something to do with the tweet used as a thumbnail? The one where you saw fit to name drop him, but not to address the one reason he was talking to you for?
I'm not gonna leak DMs or really go in depth on our private conversation, but...
Which, Charlie didn't leak DMs, but PirateSoftware did. PirateSoftware leaked Charlie's DMs.
But the point of me reaching out to him was to talk about...
Imagine spending 2 whole hours with a mental case that refuses to admit that he got something wrong and will continuously do that. He will continuously waste your time for 2 whole hours instead of just owning up and going, you know what? I might have misread it and I may have misspoke. That's all you had to do. You didn't have to do 2 whole hours.
His refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games, and it led to a just shy of 2 hours, like, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was
Release the call! Release the call! Release the call!
more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hang-ups with it. And when I would mention, like, the behavior aspect, like, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere.
You saw fit to name drop him and then talk about everything except the one thing he wanted you to address. You didn't even bring it up and say he's wrong. You saw fit to use his name like that. But if he talks about that, that's you being...
Him and I had a 2-hour-long conversation where he wanted me to agree with him. I did not agree with him, so he called me egotistical and made a call-out video. I haven't said this word in a very long time. Based Charlie, dude. Calling him just egotistical in the call. Going, bro, can you just admit that you may have indirectly got this information wrong? Even just indirectly. And he's like, no, I was right. I was right the entire time, Charlie. You don't understand. I worked at Blizzard. My daddy got me a job at Blizzard. Like, holy shit. I get you don't agree with me, but make the call-out video after the private conversation is not trying to be helpful. That's because you wasted 2 hours of his time and didn't budge once, you fucking idiot. Let's see here. It's turning your audience into a weapon. Interesting that you say that, Thor. Lost a lot of respect for him and no longer watches content after years of doing so. Oh God, Charlie's gonna be so hurt.
Being victimized. That's him weaponizing his audience against you. Why, Thor? When you retell this story to your fans in your Discord, do you not mention that tweet? it's kind of important. Because you emphasized the speed with which he put that video up, you left your fans with a very interesting impression. One suspected that the video was ready to go in case you didn't change your opinion. You don't make a video like that in 30 minutes, he said. See how...
Yeah, you do. It's literally just Charlie rambling into a microphone. And it shows random clips. Like, not even clips. It just shows, like, screen grabs of shit, like his Twitter. I don't understand. That is a video you can make in 30 minutes. Like, is that audience member retarded?
Leaving details out can really mislead people. That theory's possible with what you were telling them, but in reality it's impossible because a big chunk of the video is about the conversation. Pirate's tweet about the conversation is in the video, and just like me, I don't think Charlie has a time machine. You did end up correcting the time frame, but only to emphasize that there was an hour and a half of silence after letting everyone know you told him.
What is this? Posting a video. Oh my God. Posting a video response instead of continuing the talk with me is absolute high school behavior. I'm sorry. Did he not spend almost 2 hours with you in a call, constantly hearing you say, I did nothing wrong, I've done everything correct, like your fucking DSP? Isn't that where we landed? Like, what is happening here? I was hoping to have an actual conversation with you. You guys did, and you were stubborn. But both of us are stubborn, and neither of us understand one another clearly. I think Charlie understands where you're coming from. You're the one that just refused to admit that you got something potentially wrong. Now that you set your fan base after me with that, I'm done chatting, though. Sent your fan base. This dude is such a pussy. Of course Charlie's going to talk about the fact that he spent 2 hours talking to you. That is not swinging your audience at you. That's not saying go harass PirateSoftware. That's turning around and going, hey, guys, I tried and PirateSoftware just won't budge. I tried my hardest. He wouldn't even admit like minor culpability. And we ended on an impasse. That's not harassment.
High school behavior, making this public instead of just talking privately. Again, no mention of that tweet where you used his name and the fact you had a conversation. Do not pretend for 1 second, Thor, that if someone tweeted that they had a conversation with you and then spewed a bunch of stuff in support of themselves without addressing what you'd been trying to get through to them with, that you wouldn't be pissed too.
And then he uses our conversation at the start of this for something that was not even the focus. I was not there to try and convince him to be part of Stop Killing Games.
That's about as hard as Charlie...
Dude, imagine Charlie's just being like, hey, like, you fucked up. Like, there's something that needs to be corrected here. I believe that you misrepresented the initiative, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And then PirateSoftware's response is, you just want me to be a part of the Stop Killing Games. You just want me to be a part of the initiative. It's like, no, Charlie, that's not, no, whatever the fuck his name is, Moldavius. Yeah, no, Moldavius. I'm sorry. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that you may have misrepresented this initiative. You just want me to be a part of the initiative. No, furry weirdo. We don't want you to be a part of the initiative. We just want you to admit that you may have gotten something wrong.
Goes in on you.
But I didn't do anything wrong. Well, you did. Like, here's some proof of that. No, I didn't.
For using the conversation. I don't
like,
think...
I would blow my brains out if I was in a call with someone like that.
You would have been as gentle, and do not pretend that you didn't make it into a public matter first. He was not just making a call-out video after a private conversation only. Funny little extra nugget. You remembered that tweet when it was useful in a different context later, didn't you? People were talking about insults, and you jumped in to say, yeah, I did insult Ross, but I apologized. See, I said, if you're mad at me for being a dick, I get it, and I'm...
This is so stupid. You're mad at me for being a dick. Oh, I'm sorry, I was being a dick to Ross. It's like, bro, it's not just about you being a dick to Ross. It's you misrepresenting the initiative, whether that is on purpose or not on purpose. And you are obfuscating here.
I'm sorry for that. I shouldn't have done it. Okay, Mr. Precision, you honestly don't get why that ticked people off? Now, with that out of the way, I'm going to be nice. I'm willing to believe that horrible things have been done to you, and you seem to want that...
I'm not.
Acknowledged and condemned. I know that
I will condemn it, but I don't believe it's real.
Nobody, and I'm not the guy you want doing it, but you can take this as a little consolation prize, a little comfort blankie to hold on to. On Tuesday, you were swatted. That's no good. People...
Wow, that's terrible. Yeah, no, that's not good. Nobody should be swatting you, buddy.
Shouldn't be doing it. Whoever's doing that should go to jail.
They should be put on a fucking electric fucking pike in jail. They should be, like, raped by Bubba.
There you go. Feel safer now. You get constant calls to your cell phone. Sorry to hear that, man. Sounds real annoying. You receive tens...
It is definitely annoying. I've had it happen myself. Like, I've had it happen myself. It sucks, but you kind of just ignore it and it stops.
Of thousands of death threats a day. Okay, calm down there, Zoe.
Tens of thousands of death threats? Really? Did you rape somebody? I don't believe the tens of thousands of death threats. I don't believe that.
Quinn, I'm trying to be nice. Stop pushing it. I'm sure you've received some. I'm much smaller and I've received 1 or 2. But, may I see 1 day's worth, please? Like, people call things death threats all the time that really, really aren't.
Harmful's right here. People, like, constantly think, oh, this is a death threat, this is a death threat, this is a death threat. That's like when Hassan flashed that gun on stream. And everyone's like, oh, he doxed that guy. Hassan doxed him and he showed a gun. And it's like, bruh. Like, nobody gave a fuck when Charlie and Sneeko did it. Everyone was like, damn, Sneeko's retarded. Like, and then Charlie made a joke out of it and totally bodied him. Like, I'm sorry, Hassan did not dox that guy. He fucking pulled up his public YouTube channel. Like, you're an idiot.
For instance,
that was Hassan. The guy in the chat was literally threatening to go to Hassan's house, and Hassan pulled a gun. It's like, okay, I can't really care.
People tend to call someone saying kill yourself a death threat.
It's not a death threat. I'm sorry. I tell people to kill themselves all the time. It's such cope. It's such honest-to-God cope.
People say nasty, crazy things about content creators all the time. Here's a guy talking about me.
We can just send the cops to his house because he threatened to kill harmful opinions. Yeah, I threatened to kill him, and I would fucking kill him. Yes, I would kill him.
See, that sounds more like a death threat, but also sounds like a retard's doing it, so you don't take it seriously.
Will not happen because I'm not going to the UK. But if we were ever put in the same room, you know, and yeah, again, I'm not killing him because that would be too easy. That would be actually releasing him from pain. No, I would break his spine. I would cut his eyes out.
See, this sounds a little bit more like a death threat. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just like a little bit. That sounds more like a threat.
I would fucking hit him in the ears until he's deaf, and I would leave him like that. He would die soon.
Is this the Polish lolicon guy? Maybe. I don't know who this guy is, but this sounds more like a death threat than like getting told to kill yourself. PirateSoftware.
But I would leave him in that state of complete fucking blindness and.
Dude, hearing that come out of a Polish man's mouth is crazy. Whatever accent that is, it's crazy hearing it.
I would do this to him. I would, you know, and I would make sure that whoever his so-called girlfriend is, I would make sure that she's watching and she would get the same treatment.
Okay, what the fuck?
For even being associated with him.
Mostly nuts on the internet are just really, really funny.
I laughed at that. That was crazy.
A guy once sent me the entirety of Twitter's TOS and then say like, I know where you live, watch out, at the end. Something like that. Just goofy shit. But here's my advice if this stuff really bothers you. If you've been sent something credible...
Don't talk about it on the internet. I hope Harmful and me, I feel like, are on the same wavelength as that. Is like, if somebody does some shit like that, you don't draw attention to it unless it's funny.
Someone demonstrates that they have the intent, the means, and the knowledge necessary to hurt you. Police. Otherwise, take...
Yeah, police don't tell people on the internet.
In this. This is how I look at it. If a crazy person on the internet has genuinely dedicated themselves to killing you, you're dead. No use worrying about it. If they're genuinely dedicated... they can get you. I feel like accepting that is the only way to not go insane if like more than 500 people online know you exist. Easier said than done to just start thinking like that, but try it, Thor. Like, maybe you'll chill. Like, depending on the perspective you have now, might sound scary or rough, but it's genuinely how I think about it. People called the county saying your rescue is an animal horde. Yeah, if they don't have evidence or credibly believe that, they shouldn't be doing that. You're being called a pedophile, zoophile.
Okay, hold on. I don't agree with the pedophile, because I don't know anything about that, so... I'm sure somebody knows something, but I don't know how real that is. Zoophile, you are a furry. You got a lot of zoophile problems going on. Let's see here. Rapist, I don't know anything about a rapist. Corporate plant, yeah. Degenerate, yeah. Narcissist, yeah. Nepo baby, yeah. Like I can agree with most of this. People called the county saying our rescue is an animal horde. See, that's fucked up. You shouldn't be doing that.
Rapist, corporate plant, degenerate, narcissist.
This is like It's like basic shit you get from people.
Nepo Baby, and many others. I'm gonna go ahead and say some of those aren't like the others. But yeah, welcome to the club, man. They attacked all of the accomplishments over my life despite physical evidence to prove the contrary. People did this on the internet. Really?
Crazy.
They also went after every job you ever held, trying to say you never worked them or never deserved them if you did. Went after? You mean they're bothering your previous employers? Or just saying, didn't happen, didn't deserve it? Saying didn't happen? They can be wrong about that. Didn't deserve it. That's an opinion.
I believe he did deserve the job. I believe that if you're contacting his old businesses for like internet drama and shit, like what old jobs and things, I think you're fucking insane to be doing that in the first place. But like, yeesh.
Little respect for the initiative's supporters due to this. Rarely do I find an actual argument that isn't just flinging insults.
Remember, he's a 4chaner back in the day? Wait, so he was running on 4chan, and this dude, what the fuck? And he's bitching like this?
That sucks, Thor. But I have good news. There's a guy you could have talked to who would absolutely never ever do any of that, and he's a really big supporter of Stop Killing Games. You might have heard of him. He's called Ross Scott. But of course you couldn't talk to him because politicians like easy wins is a,
I specifically don't like Ross. That line of thinking is fucking dangerous. Why? Why would you be afraid to talk to Ross? Especially back in the day. Like, what is the point of that? Ross did nothing to you. Ross basically just pointed out that you got the initiative wrong, and that it may have contributed to people being contributed to people not understanding the initiative. Ross didn't call you a Nepo baby. Ross didn't say that your time at Blizzard's fake. Ross didn't call you retarded or call you any slurs. Ross just pointed out that you were wrong. If you have this much of a fundamental disagreement with Ross, why are you afraid to talk to him? He seems like an approachable guy.
Dangerous line of thinking. So it's a line of thinking now. It's thoughts about how things are. You understand now it's not a tactic like you said in your video, but a line of thinking that would apply to literally anything they were trying to present. And even that, forget the swatting and stuff, even that's too dangerous a line of thought to engage with such a person. Do you see why your gamer-gatification of Stop Killing Games isn't going so well? And one last thing you should understand about the nature of the internet and its many commenters. If you build your presence online on how you look, people are going to call you ugly. If you build your presence on authority and credentials, people are going to attack that. It's gonna happen, consumer advocacy movement or not. And because what you're putting online is media, I don't think commentary on it should be restricted. If you don't want people hitting you,
which I've been hearing that PirateSoftware's company or PirateSoftware himself, is it true that he's actually DMCAing people? Is that true? Like, is he DMCAing smaller fucking YouTube channels? That's insane if that's real. Found a bunch of clips where PirateSoftware says he can't be affected by trolls because he grew up on old internet like 4chan. Oh my god, what an idiot. What a dumbass. He said those words? Who has those clips? Because that's fucking stupid. Why would you do that? Oh, he DMCA'd card postings? Hold on. We're switching over to card now. We're switching over to card real quick.
Hello there. My name's Card.
What the fuck? He actually DMCA'd Card? Why is Card's audio so shit? Why can't I increase this?
And here on my YouTube page, I like to make simple little videos about things that interest me. This video will just be something of a quick update for people who might have seen another recent video of mine, one called You Should Hate Pirate Software, which incidentally, I'll link at the top of this video's description if you want to go watch it for yourself. Now, I believe, and am asserting, that Jason Forhall of Pirate Software not only inexplicably ended up seeing my little video, but he got really mad about it, and has tried his best to take it down and otherwise fuck with it to the best of his ability. If that interests you, if you want...
Like, did he send a claim or did he send a DMCA? Because if it's a copyright claim, it's not as big as a DMCA. It's still a dick move. But a DMCA is like you're trying to take someone's entire channel down.
Juicy details. Just bear with me for a moment, and I'll get into why I think all that. But first, just a little bit of specific context. A couple of days ago now, I made a video talking about how I think Jason Forhall has been acting really shitty about the Stop
Really, a DMCA?
Killing Games Consumer Rights Initiative, and why I don't like him, and why I think others shouldn't like him either. Now, my YouTube page is, by content creator standards, really, really small. I don't get a lot of views, which I'm perfectly happy with. If something I make gets 1,000 views total, I think that's super. That is beyond all my wildest expectations. But this video I did recently, You Should Hate Pirate Software, I guess the mysterious YouTube algorithm liked it, or it's just a really popular topic right now, because my recent video got about 9,000 views in 2 days, and it's still gradually ticking up bit by bit. That's huge by my standards. It's not
That is big for Card. That is big for Card. Is this Arthur Fleck? Yes, it's Arthur Fleck. It's the new Joker.
My most popular video outright, but it comes very close, and it's certainly the only video of mine that's done that well in such a short period of time.
Isn't DMCA a DMCA another content creator, like the biggest way to kill your channel? So a DMCA, there's a couple of stages to it, right? So YouTube made a change where you can opt to do a 3-day request to take down the video, or they'll go through with an automatic DMCA, right? It's like a 7-day waiting period, or you could just do a DMCA like immediately, right? If you do get DMCA'd and you get a copyright strike, that does affect you in the algorithm from what I was told. I'm not the #1 authority on it, but it does put essentially a strike on your YouTube channel. That strike can lead YouTube to delist your content. If you get 3 copyright strikes in a row, your channel's gone. So I assume that PirateSoftware only DMCA'd 1 video from what Card's saying here. So Card got 1 copyright strike, which means that he has to basically put in a repeal request, basically saying, no, this is within fair use. He's got to give PirateSoftware or whatever company all of his private information to do it that way, to like fight back against it, because essentially it's a legal binding case now. I mean, who did it? Will their channel get killed, like views go down and people not like them? People that DMCA other creators, it usually ruins careers. If you get caught DMCAing people for unjust reasons, especially for criticism, that really rallies people, like, over the top. Like, an example is, like, the Quantum TV stuff. Like, Quantum's channel got fucking obliterated from fucking Earth, and his reputation was destroyed because he was going around DMCAing creators for fair use videos. So, like, it does hurt them. It's dependent on how much people make a stink, though.
Also assert that, remarkably, Paul happened to see my video when it only had about 400 views on it, and he watched it privately, and got exceedingly angry at what he considered to be an attack on his character, even if it's just coming from absolute small fry like me. And I also believe, although the exact details here may be a little bit speculative on my part, Paul has tried to officially report my video to YouTube as being some sort of terms of service rule-breaking targeted harassment.
Okay, so no, he flagged them through targeted harassment.
About 24 hours after he tried this, it became clear to him that this would not be successful.
Oh, so So Card got the email that he was actually getting hit for terms of service violations, because when sometimes for privacy complaints and stuff like that, sometimes people get emails for those. Flagging it for harassment, I don't believe you get emails for those if somebody flags it, because if it was flagged for that, it would be taken down immediately. Like, I got hit for targeted bullying and harassment on a it was a Scammer Payback stream I did on a guy that was basically stalking Scammer Payback's family. And that guy, or fucking, what's her name? I already forgot her name. Savannah Marie might have flagged my channel because I said crazy shit about them. But, like, Savannah Marie also tried to accuse me of saying I was going to SWAT them or something, which is completely false. I would never SWAT or dox anybody because I find that to be just abhorrent to do to other people, or contact other jobs or anything like that. Like, I have basically a zero tolerance policy for it. So it would have taken it down if YouTube agreed with it. So I get where Card's coming from with that. That he probably tried flagging it for that, realized it wasn't going to go through, and then moved up to DMCA.
YouTube evidently declined to agree with him there, if they actually took his complaint in at all. So instead, around this time, Hall instructed people within the innermost circle of his fan community, on services like Discord and elsewhere, to mass report my aforementioned video themselves, and report my YouTube page, and seemingly to leave a bunch of comments under that video calling me wrong and a bully. Which is, by the way, also the reason that if you go to my You Should Hate Pirate Software video and filter the comments by chronological order, basically the only comments expressing significant disagreement with me all happen to have been left within one, 30-minute period, roughly 25 hours after that video.
So is Card accusing PirateSoftware of, like, a coordinated flagging campaign? That's interesting.
Was posted?
Is Card my friend? No, Card is not my friend.
And also,
I defended Card against Alec Gunter, though. Alec tried to insinuate that Card postings was creating a harem of trans women so that he could fuck them.
Telling your fans to wrongly mass report a video you don't like does seem...
I made sure to defend Card in that because there was no evidence.
Sort of targeted harassment, doesn't it? But I digress. Also, I'm still here, and that video is still here. How about that? Now, at this point, you should be thinking...
Yeah. Like, Alec Gunter just straight up lied about Card posting.
Card, this all sounds perfect.
Is this, like, all new to you? It's on my channel. I don't remember which Alec Gunter video it was, but, like, I crashed out on Alec.
Plausible, based on what we know about Jason Thorhall's personality and ego. But ideally, you'd show us proof. That's very true and very astute of you to say. And I do have proof. I have receipts, as the TikTok teens say, and I'm going to hold on to them for at least a little bit. Because the way I see it, I imagine that this video will make its way, sooner or later, back to Hall himself too. Which means there is an outside chance, a small chance, but a chance, he publicly addresses it. Even if just in some small...
What's going on? I'm just catching up on everything that I missed, Gore.
...capacity, like on Twitter or whatever. And, firstly, I just want to know what parts of my narrative here he denies, if any. Will he admit he tried to have my video taken down by YouTube mods? Will he admit to the fact he got his fans to try and do the same? Or will he admit he got them to be annoying little toadies in my comment section for a while? I'm hoping that we might be able to get some specific denials from him on record before I tip my hand fully here. Apologies to anyone who might have liked to see some receipts now. I do understand why you want them, but I have considered my options here, and I do believe this will be the right way to do this. Trust the plan. Because I don't think Jason Hall necessarily realizes the extent of what I happen to know here. And at this point, since I think he's watching, I'll just look directly to camera for a moment to say, hey Jason, all your friends hate you, sucker. Anyway, if worst comes to pass, if we hear nothing back from him at all, I'll just make another video in the near-ish future, dropping everything pertinent, okay? As for right now, I'll just look directly to camera for a moment to say, hey Jason, all your friends hate you, sucker.
Why is card posting so based? Like, what the fuck? His videos on fucking Null, though, are crazy. I could not imagine doing that. All right, what's this video? Because I was getting screamed at to watch this. Why did Alec Gunter slander card postings?
All right, so I'm sure many of...
So the reason that Alec Gunter was slandering card posting in particular was that Card made a video on the Vosh stuff and then brought Alec Gunter into it because Alec was essentially sweeping for Vosh during the... What was it again? Fuck. Oh, no. I'm wrong. So what happened is that Card made a video about what he deems to be like alt-right terminology, like the word sneed, right? Like he tried to make a video saying that alt-righters use sneed, right? And then when that happened, Alec basically watched Card's video and made fun of him. Card responded. And then when Card responded, Alec crashed out, tried to find Card's information, go into Kiwi Farms to access it, even though Alec Gunter believes Kiwi Farms is like the most evil website to ever exist, which is ridiculous. Weaponized a thing that he considers to be like a forum of the alt-right, and then randomly made up an allegation of Card postings, basically having a harem of trans women to like have sex with, which is, there's no proof. Yeah, he said Card was a sex pest, because there was like a random story of like Card, I think something involving a woman at his previous job, but there was no direct evidence of Card doing anything wrong. Like, it's so stupid. And Alec, like, tried to, like, convince everybody that Card was this guy. And then found Card's legal name and showed and, like, put all of his info on his stream and shit.
Hey, guys, thank you for watching the clip. Thank you, Core, for doing the editing. Make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. Check out the link in the description for the LOLcow trading card game. There's a brand new pack called Series X. That pack has my card in it, the tipster cards as well. On top of that, there's a bunch of other cast of characters in there, and we're also working towards an ultimate goal for that. So make sure you guys click on the link below. We're going to try and upload daily here and do live streams pretty often, so make sure you stick around and hit that like button. Thanks, guys.